Hi everyone, Emma here. I am so excited. So this is finally happening. This is the cuff bracelet that I've been wanting to make for years, and I haven't been able to find a tutorial that deals with the issue of all these jumble of knots under the button. So I think I've figured it out, a really awesome way to take care of that leaves it nice and tidy back there. So this is just an idea of what it's going to look like, and this is going to be for somebody with I think a 7 3/4 inch wrist. It's a really tall person, so I suspect that's why her wrist is that size. I mean, mine's kind of freakishly small at 6.5, so it is what it is, right? But I want to definitely make an awesome bracelet for her. So this is what I have. These are these gorgeous, I don't even know what type of stone this is, but I got this on my last AliExpress haul, and it was a wonderful surprise to get these gorgeous beads. They look extraordinary. The camera doesn't do it justice. They are unbelievable. They're so beautiful. So I have these, I think these are 10mm and a 6mm, and the idea is that we do something like this. Let's actually do the whole thing so you know what I'm talking about. So in the end, this bracelet is, let's try it this way here, like this, and then this leather is going to come around again, around like this. Let's see if I can move the camera so you can get a top view of this. It's just amazing. So something like that. And then this is your hole for your button. So yeah, this is going to look awesome. Absolutely awesome. So I'm just going to get started. Let me move this off. And this is not going to be a in detail tutorial because I'm still working through the kinks of it. But I will give you, some step-by-step stuff. And then if people are interested, I will do an absolute thorough tutorial. The problem with doing a thorough tutorial is they end up being an hour or longer, and that's just because there's some little kind of finicky stuff that you really have to pay attention with a cuff bracelet. And even with, let's move these guys over. Now I'm going to work from the back of my bracelet. Normally I work from the front, and normally I put this on a bead tray and attach it, but because I'm getting rid of the knots, let me enlarge this a bit. So because I'm getting rid of the knots, this can slide up and down. Now it's pretty tight, this leather, so it probably won't do that, but I don't want to take a chance. And I added this tape so that it doesn't move because I've measured it exactly, so just in case it moves when I'm working it. So so you can see what I've done is I've spliced it, and then I just took my thread and wrapped it, and then kind of tied it in a knot, and then slid the tail underneath it, cut it, and then added some E6000 glue. I wasn't sure if I should do E6000 or the GS Hypo. So I might at the end go through with some GS Hypo to secure it. I don't know if it'll cancel out the other glue. Sometimes they interact. So here's a trick that I've figured out how to hide your knot. So most wrap bracelets get you to put your knot in the, like your thread knot in your leather knot. And then you get this line of thread going down before you start your beads. You can do that. I like everything neat and tidy. So what I do is I put a loose knot on the left hand leather. Let me make sure there we go. So I put a knot there, and I'll show you where it is now. So I put a loose knot, and the reason I put loose, now it's snug, not necessarily loose, is because I want it to be able to move up and down and turn, because I'm not sure exactly where my bead is going to land or where the hole is going to land. And what I do is, even at the beginning, initially I used to leave it, and then at the end I would take a needle and weave it through. But I figured that you can actually, without a needle, weave through your tail and do it right away. And then before you even start to attach this bead, you just pop it like that, and there, your knot is gone. So that is awesome. Because you're doing so much bead weaving, that will never move up and down. So there's no concern with that. And I leave the tail, and later on I will go in and wrap it a couple of times inside a couple of beads, and then glue it and cut it. So I'm just gonna, here's another trick to get that tail out of the way so it doesn't get tangled, is you just wrap it around your button a couple of times. There. So let's get started here with this. So make sure you can see what I'm doing here. And of course that tail is still in the way. This cord is kind of rigid, so it pops out everywhere. Okay, so now I am going to go under and in through the bead. And I'm going to pull this tight. Pull that knot in there. There. I want that knot in there. Okay, pull your cord through. I hold my bead when I'm doing that. Here, let me do it this way. A little better. So I pull that tight, and there, your knot is gone. Okay, now you're going to go for the next bead. So this part should go pretty quick. Put your bead on, bring your cord or your thread all the way through, and you go on top. Now, this pattern is when I have it flipped over, but it doesn't really matter. It ends up being the same. So now you're going to go over that right hand leather and pull through the bead, and then pull your cord through. And I might have too much thread here, but I prefer to have more than not enough. And if you're starting out, it's probably easier to use less. And I conditioned my thread. Your next one. So I used this one as my guide. So I counted this many beads, which ended up being 20 beads, but this one's super big, so I think it's way too big. So I had 2 beads off to the side to give me the 20. I think I'm probably going to end up with 18. So let's do it like this. And I find when I do wraps with beads that are this big, the holes are pretty big, I go through twice to secure it. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do that yet. I'll see. I might end up doing it at the very end once everything's on, because maybe the 6mm will stabilize it enough, although this one here is pretty wonky, so if it's any indication, I might have to double up this. So the part of doing this cuff bracelet is you also need to figure out what device you're going to use to put it on to secure the leather so that you can just go ahead and put your beads on. And that is, there's all kinds of contraptions out there to use, and there's still none that I've seen that works. If you've seen any that work, let me know. That's something I'm working on as well, because these are really awesome to make. Like, already this is looking amazing. Look at that. So yeah. It's gorgeous outside, so I think I can't go for a bike ride because my hand is still not well enough to be putting weight on the handlebars, and I shift with my right hand and your thumb. The shifter is in the thumb portion, and that's of course the joint that's a problem. So oh, that's just the wax. I was like, what's that? Oh, my stomach's crumbling. I do keto and intermittent fasting. And it's funny, when I saw my doctor a couple of weeks ago, it was the first time she'd seen me since I had surgery, so about, a year or so. And I had lost 70 pounds, so she was so excited. She was like, so, what did you do? And I told her about the keto, and I don't know if I had a bunch of stuff to discuss with her, so I don't want to waste her time too, so I was just kind of quick about it, and I said, oh, I did keto. She's like, well, how did you find out about it? And I mentioned that I started following some people on YouTube, and that there was videos and whatnot explaining what to eat and how much and how it worked and stuff like that. But I forgot to tell her the key to doing keto, in my opinion, and this is what worked for me, is the intermittent fasting. And part of my problem, I feel, was the insulin resistance. So I'm just going to be a bit choosy with these beads and try and do some that don't have a lot of veining like this, because I suspect I'm not going to need all these. So yeah, I forgot to tell her about the intermittent fasting. I had insulin resistance, and kind of annoyed that our medical system doesn't talk about that. They, if you go to your doctor, you get your blood work for the year, they'll say, oh, your insulin was high, and I think they need 2 or 3 positive highs before they start treating it. But in my opinion, if it's already high, then you need to start dealing with it. So why not deal with it before it gets bad? So, and who knows, the reason may be because people, you might get a weird thing happening with a high blood sugar in the morning, that kind of thing, or which happens, or it just, you didn't fast like you said you did when you went to get your blood work done. I had a piece of gum one morning before going, and I got a high blood sugar, and I was like, and the gum was supposed to be sugar free. But then after doing keto, I've found out that actually even some of the sugar-free sweeteners can elevate your blood sugar. I was like, oh, great. And they do ask you when you go to get your blood work, have you had a piece of gum or a cough drop? Or nope, I'm good. So there's all kinds of reasons why it might be high, but I think they should start dealing with the blood sugar issue early. And I think most people know what it's all about when it comes to blood sugars, but when I'm a nurse, and I actually did my consolidation in nursing school in the diabetic clinic. So I have a lot more knowledge than most people, and I still didn't know the stuff that I know now, where, you break it down to the simplest form. Your body should only have a certain amount of sugar in the blood at any given time. When it has more than that, it stores it as fat, and to protect your body from different things. And one thing is to do with your vascular system. So like your eyesight goes bad, all the small vessels in your body. So anyway, I'm gonna change the subject. I'm sure you guys don't want to hear about but anyway, so yeah, the intermittent fasting really helped with controlling the blood sugar levels. And it also depletes the glucagon that you have in your cells. And what that does is when you work out on an empty stomach, you start to lose weight. You lose fat, so you burn fat. So that is key. Oh, look what I did. I just pulled it out. So that's how easy it is. I should have put tape on the other side. So let me get that back. It's funny the beads are not moving that much, so I couldn't have pulled it too much. I think I'll just leave it and adjust it at the end. See where I'm at. Just pull that tight. Okay, next one. I may end up uploading this in parts so that you can see this right away. Part of the reason too is the way my camera works. I can pause this and then come back, and it will be one entire video. If I stop it, it becomes a separate video, and then I have to use an editing software to stitch them together, and it takes forever. Like, it takes hours for the software to render and stuff like that. So that's why I don't do it. I just pause it. But then what that does is I can't use my tablet. I have it plugged into the wall, like for the electrical, to keep it charged, and I can't use it until I finish the video. So, but who knows, I might do it anyway, because this looks like it's happening pretty fast. I think I am gonna go up a second time. So this is super fast. I find doing these bigger beads goes amazingly quick. Let me This is awesome. So I wanted to mention a shout out to Kathleen And let me bring up her, I'm going to pause this for a sec. Sorry about that. I was yammering here, and I don't know if I told you everything. My screen was still flashing on pause. Okay, so I'm just going to show you about, so I'm turning my thread around so I can go up to secure this, and then it also puts my needle in position to start the other one. So you don't have to do it twice, but I like it a little more rigid with these big holes. So I went through the one side at the top over the left hand cord. I'm going to go over the right hand under. I'm going to go through the bead, but I'm going to come up on top. And what that does is it puts my thread in position to follow the same path. And that way it doesn't look like there's all kinds of thread everywhere. Just hold that down while and pull that tight. And this is an opportunity to tighten everything. So I don't know, I had my camera paused, so I apologize. I don't know if I told you. Let me just, I had 2 beads, so it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, so that was one of the other beads. So I'm just going to continue with this while I'm talking. So yeah, I'm sorry about I paused it and then I started talking, so I don't know what I told you. But I was mentioning that Kathleen I think her last, Brandt, you have to check out her channel. She has a video that she posted today showing bracelets that she made that are her design or a variation on other people's designs, and they are incredible. And she won a competition. Trying to think of the company name. One of the bead companies. I think she won like $500 in crystals or something. But she mentioned that she had shoe boxes of designs that she made that weren't her designs, that were like from tutorials and stuff. And I guess she sounded a bit apprehensive of showing those because they're not her designs, but I'm like, no, show them. People do jewelry reveals all the time. I mean, my stuff that I show, I didn't, design how to do a memory wire bracelet. I just, so you had to be careful going through. That just went through the thread itself. And yeah, it kind of weakens your thread when that happens, so just be careful. This thread is the Coates and Clark nylon upholstery thread, and it's supposed to be 100% nylon. It probably is, but it feels different than the stuff I normally use. So I don't know, this feels thicker. This feels more like normal thread. So I don't like it as much as my normal thread, but you know what? This was the only one that had white. So, and I love this white leather. So yeah, I love seeing other people's bracelet designs, and I'm used to doing leather wrap bracelets. And I love seeing those as well, but I just started doing bead weaving, and I love it. I'm so hooked. It's so beautiful. It blows me away that you can make this gorgeous, sparkly, colorful bracelet that looks like, gold jewelry. out of beads. It just blows my mind, and the intricacy of them are stunning. Oh, what did I do there? That my cord went around the end. That's interesting because usually this is on a board, so it wouldn't do that. So let's pull it out, and yeah, this is making it a lot better, a lot more secure. So to make sure I'm not popping it through the other thread, I am making sure that I push my needle to the edge of the bead hole. This must have grabbed it. Let's pull that tight. Okay, keep going. I should have come out the top here. Doesn't take much for me to get confused. I'm so confused. So you have to be careful too, like, because the first time around wasn't as tight, now that I'm going a bit tighter, you have to be careful, because then you're gonna see the first thread is gonna look looser than the second thread. So hopefully that makes sense to you. So I think what I'll do is I will continue and then start on the smaller beads. Actually, no, I'm going to continue. I think we have, this is going to take a couple of minutes here. Famous last words. Oh, my wife was not happy with me last night. I was doing the video for the bracelet, and like I said, I pause the camera and then I do the next step, and it was kind of a detail, like it took a little while, and of course took longer than I anticipated. So I told her I was going to be ready for supper in a half an hour later. After she's made supper and waiting for me. And then I came back to do some work, and then I just did this again. It went around the, so we were gonna do some stuff in our office and then go back and watch Big Brother when it came on. And I told her she was ready to go watch it, and I said, oh, I just have 15 minutes to go. I came downstairs. She's sitting on the couch, not happy. She's like, you're starting to sound like you're on drag time. So if you're not queer, you have no idea what that means. So apparently drag queens are always late. So they call it drag time. And that's a stereotype. I don't know how accurate that is. But it's a bit of a joke. And she is home, so I better go down. She just, oh, I did it again. She just went out to do the grocery shopping. So I will be back. I'll help her unload, and I'll be back when we start. This is looking awesome. Look at this. Okay, I'll be right back. So I'm going to quickly show you where I am at right now. So as you see here, this is just my tail from my new thread. Let's straighten that out a bit. So normally this would be another area that you would put a knot. So you can see you had your first knot, then a second knot, and then when you're done, a third knot. So there'd be like 3 big knots. You know, with 2mm leather, it's going to create some crazy knotting. So all I did was I followed the path of the leather. And the other thing too is I've seen where they've turned it this way and gone down that side. And the leather just naturally wants to go this way, so I think that makes the most sense. Now your last strand, when you come all the way, because you're going to go down, you're going to go all the way around here to your closure, all the way around, and you're going to come back up on this side like this. Then I would most likely, again, maybe, because you can't get it through the hole now, but maybe through here and splice it again somewhere in here, maybe here, something like that. Finish it off like that, and do this threading like I did there. So then there's no knots at all, and it's still very secure. So let me show you what I'm doing here now. I notice that I think that bead needs to come down a bit where I put the thread. I'm just wondering if I can take this out here. Actually, there's a tricky way to do this. Just pull your leather all the way through the loop and it pops right off. Rather than try and take your needle through your bead. There, like that. So I put my thread up higher and I think I want it down lower. So I'm going to pull that through here. Be careful not to knot it. There. Yeah, see, I had it up there. So let me pull this through here. This is the thing I'm finding. I'm not sure where to go with the next strand. Oh, look what I did. I have to pull this leather through. That was easy. So that's the thing, it's a bit kind of wonky when you've got a lot of thread. Okay, so what I need to do is go through here. So let's move that out of the way for now. I must have tangled my... There we go. There. So pull that tight. And we're going to add a bead on. Just bring it out a little bit so that make sure I'm in frame here. So pull that all the way through, and of course now we're doing double, so that's why I needed extra thread. And there is a way to add thread, but if I can do it with one strand, then I do. But I would recommend, if you're new to this, don't just use a workable length, and I have videos that show you how to change your thread without a knot. There. Next one, I'll show you a few of these, and then I'll go ahead and finish it. So start this. Actually, move this down here, and now. See what I mean with how it crosses over the middle one? I find it's a bit messy that way. I wonder if there's a way to do this so that you could all do it on one piece, but for now I'm hoping that the thread will disappear once you have it all completed. Make sure you move these guys up. Oh, this is And I condition my thread with beeswax. It prevents it from knotting and twisting, and because it's beeswax, it just wears off with your body heat. I'll do the next bead here. And this will get easier as there's less thread. Okay. So I do have some tutorials on how to do just a single wrap, and I would recommend, if you're interested in doing these cuff bracelets and you don't have any experience with doing these type of bracelets, to practice a few of those first to get the idea of how to thread. So that's why I'm not really going over it with you on this. This is more the logistics of a cuff bracelet. Through the bottom. So an interesting way to do these too is with, so there we go, is with use a tile in the middle and seed beads on the end, and they look stunning. There's so many really beautiful check glass beads out there for the tiles that, and you could do like super duo in the middle and then seed beads on the side. Just make sure everything is pulled tight. So there we go. I will continue all the way down till I get to the closure, and I'll show you about going around in a circle. Okay, so I just started coming around the bottom where the closure is. So I'm just going to follow this cord around. And because this one is loose, you can work with it around as you add the beads. So let's just see how we do here. So that's going to go there, go under this, and I'm going to hold on to that. See if I can hold this tight. Pull that through, and there, and go to the next one. And I'm just gonna start to bend my second strand around. Just hold that, put that through, come around, and I'm going to hold that tight, pull this through. And pull it tight, and then I'm going to go to the next one. Pull that through like that. And I'm going to pull that tight, hang on to there. And snug it tight like that, and just keep going around. Okay, so I went ahead and finished off the other side and then brought it up to here, and the one thing I ran into is I didn't realize I was gonna need that full strand of beads. I actually ended up with one left, which this actually came from the beginning. It was on this side here at the beginning, and as I was turning, it must have got pushed up and it was just popping out, so I just went ahead and took it off and then threaded my thread through this knot. So what I did have to do, this strand of beads, as beautiful as they are, there were a few cracked ones, so you can kind of see here. This one is kind of flat there. So there was a few, I tried to put them at the end so that you couldn't tell, and I made sure to put that flat side on the inside because this is what it looks like. So you can't really tell that it's cracked on this side. And then because this is the button part, once you loop it around, you're not going to see those two beads. So I'll show you what it looks like. So it's pretty easy to pop in, so you don't need a huge hole. And you can even see there's a bit of space here. But as you can see, it partially conceals those beads at the end. So I only had one strand of these 6 millimeters. So I think I said these were 10. They're actually 8. I measured them. So they're 8 millimeter and 6 millimeters. So that looks amazing. Now I think under normal circumstances I would alternate the color, but this bracelet is for somebody in particular that loves turquoise. So I wanted to make sure that I made full turquoise color. I don't think it's actually turquoise, but it sure looks like it. So that is the official first cuff bracelet. So now that I've figured out, and we'll open it up and I'll show you what I did. So now that I've figured out how to make this without any knots, this is so much nicer. Now, this is a bit messy. It gets a bit awkward once everything's on, trying to create a nice wrap. But again, that's going to be covered by your closure like this. So you're not going to see it. But I think if you used Eslon, it's a bit thicker, that kind of thread, then you can do like a nice even wrap around. It doesn't look too bad on this side. So this side's a bit messy. And so I cut my leather on an angle and glued it and then did the wrap. And then I reinforced everything. I initially used E6000. I didn't realize E6000 is a bit stretchy. So I guess the reason people use that is because if you're using jewelry and you move and stuff, that means it'll move with it. But I would prefer to have like a hard bonding, especially when you're doing these like a splicing of your leather. So I went ahead, and once the knots were all in and everything, then I just stuck my needle in there and just squeezed and let the glue flow through. And yeah, I think that turned out pretty nice. What else can I say about this? Yeah, so now that now this one's popping up a lot. I think it's just every once in a while they pop up if you didn't space them properly or didn't do it tight enough. But, ordinarily, I would go one color in the middle. I think I mentioned that before. I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself. And then the alternate color or the complementary color on the edge. So there you go. That's it. Super easy. So yeah, I think I'll try and do a full tutorial if people are interested, and do a step-by-step. And there you go. Awesome. Thanks for watching, and I will make some more of these and maybe do a reveal of a whole bunch, because I had different styles using different size beads and stuff like that, and buttons and whatnot. So yeah, this is awesome. I'm so glad that I finally got this done. Thanks for watching. Bye.